Hello, welcome to Tangled Threads. If you enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Let's go. So, I've come here, to the depths of Reddit, to confess a shameful secret, and to ask for advice on something I've been wrestling with for far too long. My name is Sarah. I'm a 32-year-old woman, living in a nice house in the suburbs of Chicago, married to one of the best men you could ever meet, Jack. He is the kind of man who walks into a room and instantly commands respect, not by barking orders or boasting about his accomplishments, but through his sheer presence, integrity, and hard-earned success. He owns a successful IT firm and treats me like a queen. Even after 3 years of marriage, the spark is still alive and strong. His eyes still light up when he sees me, and our nights are filled with warmth and passion. He's not only financially stable, but he's also emotionally mature, considerate, and treats me with respect and dignity. And yet, despite all this, I made a grave mistake. Before Jack, I was married to Mike, the human equivalent of a wild storm, unpredictable and incredibly exciting but ultimately destructive. Mike was never successful in the traditional sense. He worked odd jobs, often spending his nights in pool halls and bars, occasionally getting into fights. He had this boyish charm about him, a roguish smile that could melt the sternest of hearts. Mike was, and still is, a motorcyclist. The bad boy image wasn't just for show. He was that leather-clad, Harley-riding, bar-fighting guy, someone who lived on the edge, teetering on the brink of disaster, but always managing to come back. You're probably wondering, how did I end up falling for someone like Mike? I guess part of it was the thrill of unpredictability, the intoxicating rush of living life without any rules. But the reality is, I was young and easily impressed by his seemingly rebellious spirit. Our marriage, as you can guess, was a roller coaster ride, a series of adrenaline-pumping highs and soul-crushing lows. It ended, rather unsurprisingly, in a whirlwind of arguments, tears, and a load of regret. When I met Jack, it was like waking up from a long and tumultuous dream. Here was a man who was everything Mike wasn't: stable, successful, mature, and respectful. He was the calm after the storm. I fell for him instantly, and I thought I had finally found my happily ever after. But the past, it seems, has a nasty way of clawing its way back into the present. It was during a charity event, something Jack and I often attend, that I ran into Mike. He was there, in his worn-out leather jacket, standing amidst the sea of tailored suits and designer dresses, looking so terribly out of place and yet so confidently himself. His roguish smile hadn't faded. If anything, it had only grown more captivating with time. Over a couple of drinks, old memories resurfaced, and that thrill I had once known came rushing back. I let myself be carried away in the moment, drawn in by his reckless charm, and that's when it happened. We ended up at his rundown apartment, a place that smelled of motor oil and whiskey, and I cheated on Jack. From that moment on, I was filled with guilt and regret. What was I thinking? Why did I let myself be swayed by the illusion of a past that was more pain than pleasure? Mike, with his chaotic lifestyle, was a stark contrast to the calm, comforting stability Jack provided me. Jack is everything I want in a life partner. He's supportive, kind, strong, successful, and more importantly, he respects and loves me. But the memory of that evening with Mike has been eating me alive, gnawing at my conscience and filling my heart with dread. The worst part? I think Jack suspects something. He's been quiet, too quiet, ever since I came home late that night, claiming to have lost track of time while shopping. His silence is deafening, and it terrifies me. He's not the kind of man to confront without evidence, but I can tell something has changed. I don't know what to do. Should I confess to Jack and risk shattering the trust we've built over these years? Or should I keep my terrible secret, hope that Jack doesn't know, and live with this guilt forever? I know I messed up, and I regret it deeply. But I'm scared, and I need your help. What should I do, Reddit? What would you do if you were in my shoes? Here is her first update. This is Sarah, back again with an update. The situation has taken a turn for the worse. Jack's suspicions are deepening, and he's started to question me about the night I claimed to have spent shopping. His questions are rational, reasonable, the kind of inquiries anyone would make if they harbored doubts about their partner's faithfulness. But to me, they feel like a volley of arrows, each one piercing deeper into my guilt-ridden heart. He asked me for the shopping receipts. His question caught me off guard, and I blurted out the first excuse that came to mind. I had paid in cash and discarded the receipts. It was a flimsy excuse, and his skeptical gaze told me he didn't buy it. I was walking on thin ice, and I knew it. He then asked for any other proof of my whereabouts that night. My heart raced. It was almost as if he was tracing the breadcrumbs of my lie, and they were leading him closer to the terrible truth. I mumbled something about not carrying my phone with me while shopping, another lie layered on top of an already crumbling facade. And then he dropped the bombshell. He asked for my Google login. He wanted to check my map history. My heart sank. I had been using Google Maps that fateful night to navigate my way to Mike's dingy apartment. If Jack were to see it, in a panicked moment, I decided to act defensive. I questioned his trust, his intentions, and in doing so, I started a small argument. It wasn't my proudest moment, but fear and guilt had me in their vice-like grip, and I felt cornered. He was persistent, not aggressive, but firm in his request. Finally, I gave in, but intentionally provided him the wrong password, buying myself some time. I've been avoiding Jack since then, burying myself in work and errands, anything to keep me out of the house and away from another confrontation. But I can't hide forever. Sooner or later, he's going to ask for the correct password, and then I'll be out of excuses. I'm running scared, Reddit. I've made a mess of everything, and now I'm stuck in a situation where the truth might shatter my world completely. I'm terrified of losing Jack, of losing the life I've always wanted, the life we built together. I'm horrified at the thought of my grave mistake turning my world upside down. The guilt is eating at me, and the fear of being found out is paralyzing. I still need your help, Reddit. Your advice, your perspectives. What should I do? Should I come clean before he finds out on his own? Or should I keep quiet and hope for the best? Is there even a right way out of this? And now for her final post. This is Sarah, back for the last time, with a heavy heart and a story that hasn't ended well. The inevitable happened sooner than I expected. Jack found out everything, not through confrontation or confession, but through the cold, impartial tracking of Google Maps. He saw my location that night, the 3 hours I spent at Mike's apartment. He knew. I discovered the truth the morning I got up to make Jack breakfast before his usual commute to work. But he was already gone. All that was left was a note on the kitchen counter, a painful, poignant explanation that he knew everything. He had seen his lawyer, and the divorce papers were on their way. Reading the note felt like my heart was being crushed in a vice. I could hardly breathe, and the room spun around me. The letter dropped from my shaking hands, fluttering to the floor as if echoing the collapse of my world. I fell to my knees, tears streaming down my face, the reality of my actions hitting me like a freight train. I tried everything, Reddit. I called him, sent him text messages, letters, pleading for a chance to explain, to apologize, to beg for his forgiveness. But it was all in vain. Jack was like a statue, stoic and unyielding. He didn't respond to any of my attempts to reach out. He had always been a man of few words, his actions speaking louder. His silence now was deafening, each moment of it a reminder of the trust I had shattered. The cold, stone-like demeanor he'd adopted towards me was a stark contrast to the warmth and love he'd shown me before. Now, I'm looking for a place to rent. The alimony I'm receiving isn't much. Jack was more than fair, but it will only afford me a modest apartment, a far cry from the beautiful house we'd made a home. I miss it already. The smell of fresh coffee in the mornings, the sound of Jack playing the piano, the silent conversations we had across our dinner table, and the thought that we were planning to start a family soon tears at my heart. The dream of raising a child in our beautiful home, of sharing our love with a little one, is gone. I took that dream away from him, from us. I'm responsible for destroying not just the present, but our future too. I end this post with a heavy heart, etched with the painful understanding that I've made the worst mistake of my life. I've learned the hard way that choices have consequences, some irreversible. I've lost Jack, the man who loved me despite my flaws, who wanted to build a future with me. Now, all I have are the ruins of a marriage I destroyed, and a guilt that I'll carry with me forever. I'm sorry, Jack, for the pain I caused you. I wish I could undo my actions, but all I can do now is live with the consequences and try to learn from my mistakes. I hope one day you'll find it in your heart to forgive me, even if we can never go back to what we had. And to everyone who read my story and gave me advice, thank you. Learn from my mistakes. Cherish the ones who truly love you, and never let a moment of weakness jeopardize everything you hold dear. Goodbye, Reddit. What a crushing story, and a reminder that choices do have consequences. Why someone throws it all away over what seems to be such an easy choice is beyond me. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled threads.